Hey, Sean, I've had a crazy 4 weeks. The rough overview, I had a sick kid for a week where I couldn't really do any work because I was just with the kid nonstop. Then I had a health thing. I'm totally fine now, but I was in the hospital briefly for part of a day, and then I was sort of out of commission for a week. Then my wife and son left on a trip, and I was here with a 15-month-old for a few days, and that takes all of one's time. And then I've also had these two huge client projects, which are just huge. And it's taken all of my time, and I'm like fitting 5 minutes of editing into a crack. Like it's been crazy trying to meet some deadlines and do all this work, especially with these delays that I've had. Then this evening, as I had to clean up some cat vomit down here in the basement, as is a part of life, it was an awareness of how little control we sometimes feel we have over our time. There's things that come up, there's things that you need to do. Your kids get sick, you get sick, your cat gets sick, or things get busy for whatever reason. And we kind of lose our priorities and we lose track of what's really important to us and the things that we enjoy doing. And then, so after I cleaned up the cat stuff, I was cleaning up the basement a little bit and I found my paddle, or my son found my paddle next to my desk where this stays. I love my paddle. This is a canoe paddle. It's carbon fiber. It's got the 13-degree bend to the blade. This is a really good canoe paddle that was given to me, and I love canoeing. But I've only been canoeing like twice in the past 5 years. And I was reminded as I found this canoe paddle after having the month that I've had of a ritual that I used to do that I've dusted off. I used to do this every Sunday evening, and I've put it on my calendar to continue to do it starting now for the future. But this is something that I took from Curtis Bailey's book, The Productivity Project. I think there's a way that you can skew this to be about productivity, but to me it's about happiness and being the person you want to be. But it starts with creating a list, and I think he calls it the master list or something like that. I think that's what my note is called. I encourage you to do this, make this list on a digital device, something that's with you, rather than like writing it in a journal or on a piece of paper, because you want to be able to add to it quickly when something strikes you, but also you want to be able to access it anywhere. And that's more important. We're going to get to that in just a second. But to make the list, there's a handful of categories, but the goal is to put everything that matters to you on this list. And it's a cool exercise to go through this and think about some of these things, but there's some big categories that he lays out, and I've edited them over time. But sort of the main sections are mind, what do you do for your mental health, and anything that's important to you. So for me on my list, I have reading, journaling, playing music is important to me. And I even on here then broke it down to piano, guitar, and saxophone are 3 instruments that I play or used to play. And I've put them on the list because they're important to me, regardless of how much I do them. And I'll keep saying this, but this isn't a place for goals. This isn't saying I want to play saxophone 3 times a week. This isn't for that. This is just saxophone is important to me. It's on the list. Another way to think about this is, what are the parts of yourself that make you you to you? When you think about yourself, what defines you? And those are the kind of things, whether you do them or you want to be doing them, whatever that is, put those things on the list. And so volunteering is something that matters to me, and I have volunteering on my list. And then even as Lilliputian as maintain the house, check the furnace filters, things like that. When I do that versus when I forget to do that, I am happier. The next section is body, and this is exercise, do yoga. Cold showers is on this list. For almost 2 years, I took a cold shower every day several years ago. Eating healthy, doctors, and I have dentist, eye doctor. I've had problems with my eyes in the past. And then things about personal grooming and flossing and cutting my fingernails are on this list. So there's some things you can get really specific about, and then other things that if it's not important to you, don't put it on there. I like having well-groomed nails. Then there's like career. And I've also split this out into like a professional goals section as a creative professional, because I think my career's one thing, but then I also have passion projects that are aligned with my creativity, but it blurs the line between what's my job and what's a hobby. But things like if you want to make a short film, if you want to make a photography book, any little thing like that, any project that you want to do, put it on the list. Find a section, make up your own headers, whatever it is, put it on the list. Then I have a finances section, and this just says things like credit card, life insurance, things that are important to have that you'll be happier if you have. And I'm skipping a section for a second. The last section after that is what I've called fun, which I think overlaps with mind. But things like video games, Call of Duty, Zelda is on here. Canoeing, this is where canoeing is. Camping, playing music again, photography, riding my one wheel is on here. And the last thing I've added to this list is painting. Painting, I took a painting class in January and February and really liked it. And painting, I like doing it, so it's on the list. The section I skipped ended up surprising me of how valuable this section is. And I felt weird about this section at first because it can seem impersonal. But I have a relationships section, and this is every relationship that matters to me. And everything's on here. There's no one that's like too important to include. My wife is on here. My kids are on here. My parents, brothers, aunts and uncles, cousins. And then I have like sections for, I mean, this is all just one big outline, but I have like sections for high school friends, grade school friends, Frisbee friends, creatives that I've met, like colleagues in the video production world. I have all these names on this list. And where this all becomes important is pick a time routinely. And for me, it's Sunday evenings. Maybe it's Sunday mornings for you. Maybe it's I like Sunday evenings because it's kind of before I start my week. Just checking in and reminding yourself of what's important to you can make such an impact in very acute ways and in sort of a general way. And so all you have to do is take 3 minutes. You'll get very used to this list, but don't skim it. Actually read every single thing on it, but set aside the time and read your entire list. And the goal is not to use it as a checklist and be like, well, I went canoeing this week, I went camping this week, I went whatever these things are, because life changes and there's weeks where you can't go canoeing. There's years where you can't go canoeing and it's not a good use of your time. But being aware that it's something that matters to you is important. And what you'll start to find is that by reminding yourself of these little things, you're going to start to find pieces of time that you want to spend more thoughtfully. And you may say, I've got 20 minutes. I'm going to go sit down and play guitar for 20 minutes. I'm going to try to figure out a song, whatever it is. I'm going to work out. Whatever you want to do, I'm going to bake a batch of cookies. I liked baking and I never bake. I'm going to go bake a batch of cookies because I've got an hour. What I promise you is probably not on your list, certainly not on mine, is spend 2 hours on social media or read the news for 90 minutes and surf Twitter to find out who's mad about who said what. Those kind of things are things that we end up doing just because we're not thinking about it. And when we remind ourselves once a week, it goes a long way to if once a week you're telling yourself, hey, I like canoeing, you're going to start to see a change. If you're noticing that you're not saying, hey, I like spending an hour every night sitting on my phone. And what I do then is find these little windows of, I like playing music. I like reading. I'm going to find that time, but also I like baking. I'm going to bake something, even if it's from a mix. I'm going to bake something. And then you go down to the relationship section and you say, and I'm going to give it to so-and-so. I haven't talked to this person in a bit. I'm going to give them some cookies. Maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's a coworker, whatever. And you'll also find these things on Sunday night when you're reading the list of everyone that's important to you. Again, it's not a checklist, but it's just a reminder. And as you read through it, you'll say, it has been a while since I've talked to so-and-so. I'm going to shoot him a message. Maybe on Tuesday, I'm driving. I've got a long drive and I'll call these 2 people while I'm on that drive. And that might not be something that you think about if you're not making yourself aware of it each week. And so that's the cool thing about this exercise, is that reminder that these things are important to you. And if you want to, you can find the time. or at least be more thoughtful about how you're spending what little time you may have. And again, life's going to happen. You're not going to be able to do everything on your list all the time, every day, but that's not the point. The point is just to be aware of it and to, when you can, make some little shifts that create some positivity that makes you the you that you want to be. And I know for me, I may have some time in 2 weeks where I could go canoeing, even in not, I can't go on like a river float trip like I want to, but I could spend a couple hours and rent a canoe here at one of the little lakes in St. Louis. And pulling from my relationship list, there's 2 people that I haven't hung out with in a while. Maybe I'll reach out and be like, hey, do you guys want to go canoeing? And who knows? I turn what could have been a wasted evening into some fun with people that matter to me, doing something that I truly enjoy. So that's the whole thing. Make your list, be exhaustive about it, check it frequently, add to it whenever you'd like, and habitually find a time to read through it and remind yourself of what really matters to you and what really makes you, you to you. If you do this, if anything positive comes from this, I'd love to know. If you never go back to your list, but just making the list once has some sort of positivity to you, I'd love to know what that is. I'd love to know if it made you reach out to somebody that you haven't reached out to in a while, or sent a message to somebody that you haven't sent a message to in a while, or dusted off a hobby and spent 20 minutes sketching something when you haven't done that in a while. I'd love to know if this had some sort of positive impact in any way, and helps you find the balance between being maybe a professional creative and a happy human and a good partner and whatever other things that make you you are, by being thoughtful about what those things are, and maybe each week being aware that you maybe didn't spend your time as well. And again, it's not about goals. It's not about failure and success on going down the list. It's just a reminder to do the things that you know you like to do. And sometimes it just takes that little nudge. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it, especially if you made it this far. It means a whole lot to me that you would spend this amount of time watching my videos. Have a great day or night or whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye.